I'm Sean Fennessey.
I'm Amanda Dobbins.
And this is The Big Picture, a conversation show about best pictures. Chris Ryan, a.k.a. CR, a.k.a. the Pod Slut, is here with us. We're drafting.
Can we talk about his layers?
Should I not be wearing a jacket in here? It's really cold in this office today.
It is cold, and it's cold in Los Angeles. Do you think that you're gonna heat over time?
Maybe. We'll see.
You're wearing
I'm heating up like this Oscar race.
Wow. Look at you. A new seat and the new Segway King.
This
Here we go.
This is a slicker?
It's my
this
Premier
isn't
League
down.
manager coat.
Oh, yeah. Your
like-
Jose Mourinho
Yeah.
look. Yeah,
And
okay.
I'm just like,
Okay. Are you here to compete today?
I think so. Yeah. My knowledge of cinema history goes back way before the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Does it now?
You know what I mean? Before Heat even. Maybe even back to the dawn of cinema itself.
Would you say that because this is Wellness Week here at The Ringer, and we are technically off while this
Right.
episode
So
is airing?
it's another pre-recorded classic.
Yes.
Everyone, buckle up.
Funny how we keep using drafts for that strategy. Do you think of the Oscars as creating a wellness for you?
I was thinking about this on the drive-in. I'm back in on the Oscars.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
pro. I'm excited. I have a positive attitude.
Okay.
I think it helps that the worst movie is probably not going to win. I think
That
it also
helps.
helps that we do have a week off kind of dangling in front of us unless I get selected for jury duty.
Sheesh.
And I know. Do you think if I talk about it a lot that disqualifies
It
me?
worked for me, as you may recall.
Because you're sitting over here,
Mm-hmm.
are you doing TikTok hands more? Or am I...
See, no,
Just-
you're just looking at me more.
Hoping
That's
to capture the
thing.
attention of the camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were my TikTok hands?
Just like that. Like, you
This?
know how girls like on TikTok, they'll be like,
I do because I listen to you recap it on the
Yeah.
watch. So,
You love a gal on TikTok, don't you?
yeah, some of my
Yeah.
favorite gals.
so are you actually on TikTok
No,
or
I'm on
it's-
Reels. I
Yeah,
get it
Reels.
6 months
Yeah,
later,
yeah. But you're also getting some like original to Instagram content, right?
Yes,
That's
I
kind of
am.
your demo is people too old for TikTok
Yeah.
who are still trying to make short form videos. Yeah.
In the Academy Awards race this year, we're currently in the place where voting is closed.
Okay.
But the show is still over a week away.
Yeah.
So we don't really know. We're in that nether region. So in an attempt to make content during this period of time, we're doing a draft of Best Picture winners.
Yeah.
Now, Amanda and I, frankly, to an unhealthy degree, have devoted a lot of our lives and intellectual capital to the Academy Awards in the last 7 years. Do you like actually care about the
No, I
history of the
don't.
Oscars?
No, the history of the Oscars and its sort of centrality in American culture for several decades of its existence is like totally fun to me, and it's a great night of television. I like watching it.
What is the first Oscars that you remember?
What a wonderful question. It could very well be Rain Man. What year was that?
Okay.
1989 for 88.
That's the one I kind of remember.
Okay. And
Yeah.
were you watching it at home?
Yeah, like I mean, it was always like I think my dad used to go, if I remember
Really?
correctly. Yeah, sometimes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and like it was a thing. Like it was also like that this time of year would be like right before, I guess it would be before my spring break when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But he would always be very busy. At least this is why he told me from Christmas, from like winter break through like March or whatever, you know, because
Okay.
doing Oscars.
Yeah.
I'm sure you said this before, but what is your first Oscar memory?
I remember Billy Crystal crashing, doing the English Patient plane, which would have been
97?
97. So we
Wow.
were 13. And then the year after that was the Titanic Goodwill Hunting year, 97 into 98.
Mhm.
And that was also like the Matt and Ben press tour year. So, like I was like taping that Oprah special on VHS.
Minnie Driver in the audience.
Yes. Yeah. All of that.
Gotcha.
I'm sure that I watched the Oscars before then. Like I remember, I was very invested in Apollo 13. So that was 95.
Mm-hmm.
But I think really like the Billy Crystal razzmatazz of it all.
Okay. I think mine is probably 92 for 91, which is the Silence of the Lambs year. And I remember this vividly, and I'm sure I've said this before on the show too, but I wasn't allowed to watch The Silence of the Lambs.
Was that Billy Crystal being brought out as
Yes,
Lecter?
wearing the Lecter mask and being rolled out. A great Oscars in many ways. An incredible lineup that year. But I wasn't allowed to see the movie, but it was such a phenomenon, and we've now done it twice on the rewatchables at this point, that I asked my uncle, my mom's brother, to explain the entirety of the events of the film.
Is that
And
how
he
you
was
got
like-
the idea for explaining Barbarian to Amanda?
I mean, it was a precursor to podcasting.
Yeah.
And he was a teacher like so many people in my family. And so he was very comfortable being like, I will lecture you for 40 minutes.
So you were 9 years old.
And he
just
told me.
wrapped.
And he
It's
told
really
me.
Cute.
He told me, I guess I must have been on the way to 10 at that point. But he explained the whole movie to me. I think maybe without some of the more
Like the storage
evolved
facility?
sexual
Sure.
politics. Yeah. But he, for the most part, gave me the vibe. And I think I probably got excited about a movie like this being considered prestigious.
Yeah.
And probably made me really excited. And then also, like, when Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump happened, I was like, this is my whole life. Like, I have to build my entire life around this experience. And being mad about it.
I definitely remember watching Tom Hanks accept the Oscar for Forrest Gump. So, the early 90s.
Yes.
Sure.
The
And
heyday.
him doubling up. I still think it's fun. I still think it's very silly and flawed. But I like how it's actually evolved a lot. And we were just talking on an episode a couple weeks ago about how the winners in the last 10 years, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, they're really throwing us a lot of curveballs recently.
Do you think you guys enjoy the night more or less after beginning this sort of professional odyssey of covering it very day to day? Like, is it anticlimactic? Just thinking about this with the Super Bowl, when you put so much into
it is a little bit. We were talking with Jack and making plans and the, kind of the anticipation and everything up to the night.
Your Amelia
sort of
Perez inspired wardrobe for the evening?
Yeah, I really need to return that. If I haven't returned that by the time this episode actually airs, then I guess I just own it now. So let's just put a pin in. But I still do really like watching it. And you and I were talking about, ideal Super Bowl watching setups and ideal Oscar watching setups. And it does feel it's my Super Bowl, and like my team is in the Super Bowl every year, except it's the Oscars. And they're like very, I need a very specific environment, which somehow does actually include Sean. Sean's like the only person who's allowed to talk to me during the Oscars.
I actually really like how that has evolved.
Do you read his tweets while he's sitting next to you?
Sometimes, but later. And this year, like, I'm probably not going to. In addition to, a unelected coup or whatever, like, like that is a really bad user experience. Like, it is just impossible to see tweets at this point, especially on desktop.
Yeah,
so
I just don't use For You. I can't use For You as will make you crazy.
I only use For You.
Yeah. I just even my feed. I'm just like, what am I looking at?
Interested in lots of other perspectives.
But most of the time he's working the material in the room. And
what do you mean?
You will. And
you test drive your tweets?
No. Time out. That's not what I said.
I don't do that.
I was being nice. No.
It may be sprung from a discussion we're having. Yeah.
And I think this is actually a good way of using social media during a live event, which is it should feel like what's in your head. And so you'll say something.
Oh yeah.
And then you put it, and that's fine, so I get it live. But I don't feel like I don't feel betrayed by that. That's just part of the process.
Yeah, I'm not road testing material on Amanda, but I do. If I can make Amanda laugh, I do think I've said something funny. That is how I've been grading my life in recent years. I think that the show is still good and still matters each year, depending. Best Picture as a historical marker is deeply flawed.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe the most flawed popular thing we have short of national elections.
Right.
And we've talked about why that is the case for many years and campaigning and the changing of the academy and the way that the ballot works
Should
now.
Best Picture be decided by the Electoral College?
I don't think anything should be decided by the Electoral College personally, but I don't even know how you would mitigate that. Maybe the share that each branch gets should be weighed differently.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea. I've not heard that suggested before. Who do you think should have the strongest weighting in their direction in the academy branches? Publicists?
Yeah.
I was going to make that
That's
joke.
good.
So that's good. That's funny.
To all the publicists listening, you guys are the least important. And then thank you for all the work that
they're
they do.
the nice ones.
They have to interact with us.
Yeah.
The other ones don't have to. I think that we are not getting better at electing Best Picture, but we are getting more interesting. And looking back at this exercise, you've got big chunks of history that have a lot of really bland or off winners.
Yes.
that do say something about what the Academy and the industry was at that time, but you really got to work hard to discover the context.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. I mean, you can should we explain what our kind of draft, what we're doing here today in terms of like the decades and stuff?
Well, in an effort to elongate this project into a 2-year drafting strategy, we're drafting from essentially half of the eligible Best Picture winners. You see what I did?
That's really, you didn't specify that.
Just a thought I had, which is
good. That's smart.
We're drafting from 6 categories, as always, from decades of Best Picture winners. So the decades that are eligible for picks are the 1930s, the 50s, the 70s, the 90s, and the 2010s. The 6th category is Best Picture loser.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only films that are eligible in that category are films that were nominated for Best Picture but lost in all of those 5 decades that we're talking through. One wrinkle. This was developed collectively, and I really like this wrinkle.
This was a Chris Ryan innovation, but it was good.
I think
you threw it out, and I was like, "Ooh,
it was
the magic is
thought
alive."
Storm.
Yeah,
but you guys were the Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones of my storm.
Okay.
You tamed it.
You were the Twister?
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I the who's who?
You're Glenn Powell.
Thank you so much.
Honestly,
You're the YouTube influencer.
Yeah.
Who likes to drive around in a big truck.
A lot of good merch.
So the one wrinkle is that if you can select any Best Picture loser from those given decades, but that can act as a blocker because once that film has been taken, no other movie can be taken from that year, including the winner.
I hadn't thought about it that far into it, but that's even better. That's really cool.
Because some years the pickings are slim, and some
decades
the
say that
pickings
again
are
because
slim.
I wasn't listening.
Okay.
Sorry.
The whole enterprise is listening to each other when making a podcast.
I know, but I was doing a little prep. I'm sorry.
So, like, if
I
you
was getting my tabs ready.
Platoon in 86, which we will not be doing.
Because the 80s aren't.
No other movie from 1986 would be eligible. Platoon 1, but like
Platoon 1. Let's say you were a huge fan of Hannah and Her Sisters.
I am
fan of the Woodman that you are, and you said I want to take in with my first overall pick, Hannah and Her Sisters in Best Picture loser. That means not only are Children of a Lesser God, The Mission, and A Room with a View off the board, but Platoon is also off the board completely.
Okay.
So, it's somewhat complicated to play this way, and we don't have to for the spirit of collectiveness today and, believing in each other and supporting each other. But it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And maybe it can be applied strategically.
Future drafts as well.
Yes.
You can start doing a little bit more of blocking and counter programming.
There was a question on a recent mailbag that we didn't get to about like what will we do when we run out of drafts, and my response to that is we're good. Like I got a lot of ideas. Like I'm not really worried about running just because we ran out of years.
Reason I wanted
you can't remember anything about like times that we've spent together. We were talking about our lovely trip to London last year.
I couldn't remember anything.
I was just like going bit by bit.
You knew everything.
It was a great time that we all had.
No. Anything that's transpired in my personal life in the last 5 years is gone. It is like I can't hold it for more than 8 minutes. But did it happen at the Academy Awards in 1938? I can remember it vividly.
The reason why I was asking for you to outline the decades is that it is fascinating to look at the arc of film history through the prism of Best Picture and see the exact moment where it spins apart, or maybe not the exact moment, but you go through the 90s and you're just like the best and the brightest. And what a dogfight it was.
Right.
The movies that won, the movies that lost, the movies that were nominated, its centrality in American culture. And then you skip ahead to the 10s and you're like, well.
Yeah, I think something I have a notable statistic that is related to that I think speaks to the broader discussion around the centrality of movies in our lives, which is that from 1997 to 2004, every Best Picture winner grossed at least $100 million at the domestic box office. That's 8 straight years.
Yes.
Since then, 20 years, only 5 films have done that.
That's crazy.
Let me name them.
Go for it.
Ooh.
Since 2004. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously Oppenheimer.
Correct.
Okay. I was doing this the other day in a movie that I thought was boring, which was just trying to
this
remember
is just
all
domestic.
the Best Picture winners.
Mm.
Okay. So let's see. Avatar didn't win. What won in 2009?
Instead of Avatar?
Yeah.
Hurt
No,
Locker.
Hurt Locker won instead of Avatar. What won the next year? This is great podcasting. There's King's Speech that probably didn't.
That's in the 10s.
Yeah, but he said for the next 20 years. So, yeah.
The King's Speech did.
It did.
Not only did the King's Speech do it, I believe it is the third highest grossing Best Picture winner
Did
since
Argo
2004.
make 100 mil?
Argo did.
Okay.
Argo and the King's Speech are 2 of the 5. You've also got Oppenheimer, so you've got 3 of the
I've
5.
got
So there's
3.
2 left here. One
Did No Country?
No Country for Old Men did not. It
Okay.
earned $74 million, the domestic box office. Now, you've got to remember the interesting thing here is almost all of these movies have made over 100 million worldwide
Right.
because the international box office was really strong for a long time until recently.
Okay.
We can talk about that too. But so you've got 2 films that are left.
Not Spotlight, not Boyhood, not Birdman.
Nope.
Let's
One
see.
very obvious one and one that I don't think you'll get.
2009. That was God, what won that year? Is that one of the years?
The award given in 2009 is one of the years. So 2008.
Oh, okay. So it was not for Hurt Locker.
Nope. Hurt Locker is
It's
the
2007, but
lowest
given in 2008.
grossing Best Picture winner of all time,
Yeah.
aside from Nomadland and Coda, which we don't count.
At that time or in general? Didn't Hurt Locker make like $60 million?
17 million.
It didn't make 60. It made $17 million.
In America, yes. It also beat Avatar, which was one of the most financially successful movies ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was Crash in 2005, and then 2006. I don't remember what beat the Queen, but the Queen and Devil Wears Prada were that year.
2006 and 2008 are the 2 years that we're talking about here.
Okay.
2006 is a momentous
What
Academy Award win.
Well, is 2008 Slumdog Millionaire?
2008 is Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
That is one.
And then I don't.
Parasite
2006
didn't make 100 million, did it?
It did not.
No. So what won Best Picture in 2006?
I have no idea.
Shame on both of you.
Stop it! I am thinking. Okay,
all right.
So the Queen was nominated.
You can remember the Queen and not this film.
Yeah. Oh, The Departed?
The Departed.
Yeah, there we go. See, I got there.
The Departed.
Nice job.
Slumdog Millionaire grossed $140 million in America and $385 million worldwide.
What happened there? What happened with us? We were just like, let's go Slumdog Millionaire.
I mean, it was a worldwide phenomenon. I mean,
Inspiring
obviously,
tale.
an Indian story with Bollywood, a musical, an inspiring movie. Yeah, a variety of things. Most of these movies have been huge over the years. Even, Parasite made $250 million worldwide. Winning Best Picture often certifies your movie. Obviously, for the 50 years before the entire industry fell apart, you would make a certain amount of money all the way up until your nomination. And then if you won, you could then count on another 10, 20, $50 million at the box office. The movies would continue to play after they won or go back into theaters. They don't really do that very well anymore. Although it did help for like Moonlight. Like Moonlight ended up making $65 million worldwide.
Yeah.
After I think originally opening to like 12 or 13. So anyway.
If something like Nora was, let's say, wins Best Picture and then had been in theaters for another 8 weeks after that, do you think it would do really well?
I'm wondering if that will happen because the truth is,
isn't it like on demand now?
It's not streaming, but it is on VOD.
Okay.
If Nora wins, and it is the front runner to win right now, it will be the lowest grossing movie to win Best Picture, at least going back to the 1960s. Like movies like Oliver made $27 million. So Nora would be actually technically smaller than Hurt Locker.
It's probably the smallest.
Yeah.
Correct. Adjusted for inflation, it would definitely be the lowest grossing movie. That being said, it's been in the top 5 on VOD for weeks now.
Yeah.
And people are just watching movies differently. So we're taking that into consideration too. I just thought that was an interesting stat that like the winners just don't make a lot of money at the box office because the Academy has kind of changed. The movies that they award has changed.
And the way that people watch things.
And I think that the movies have changed too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like if you look at the 90s, these are some of the biggest movies of those years. And now these are like those movies now have become IP blockbusters. You can make the argument like, why isn't Dune 2 more in contention or whatever? But,
I think I do see the Hurt Locker win as a real turning point for a variety of reasons. Not in a bad way.
You want them to come back down to 5 for Best Picture?
It's a good question. What do you think?
I don't know. Because I do think even though I fight with Sean a lot about like the ratings like are gone and we're never going to get back to the 90s and we have to let go. I think that at least having some movies you've heard of get nominated.
I just can't put myself in the headspace of somebody who's like, I'm going to tune in because I watched Dune 2 and then I'm going to watch Dune 2 lose. You know what I mean? Like, if you would be
I don't think it's going to help ratings, but I think at this point, you just need people to like care what the Oscars are.
Yeah.
To have like even the value of being the best picture winner, give you I don't know. Just to if people don't even, if they're like, I haven't heard of any of those, so I just like, it doesn't even matter. It's sort of like me and the Grammys at this point. I'm like, yeah, okay. I want to be clear that I have heard of both Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar, and I congratulate them. But you know what I'm saying.
Have you heard of Chapel Roan?
Yes. I told you about Chapel Roan.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you did not.
Oh.
You told me about Chapel Roan.
Yeah, you were just context? Like, you were like, I'm out on the pop girlies. And I was like, you didn't check out Chapel Roan.
I'm not sure if I said it exactly that way.
Yeah.
And can you imagine if music was the thing that broke the Chris and Amanda alliance on the draft episodes after all this time?
Just letting this happen.
Like taking notes. I remember when Chris was just like, I listened to half of Brat. I'm not Brat, which is fine. You aren't Brat.
Yeah.
But
did I talk about this?
Yes, on the watch. And you did. Yeah. You were not into the album. And
you know who is Brad?
Who?
Andy.
Kamala.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really turned
Nick
out well
Sirianni is Brat, bro.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni is about to have his Brat summer.
If we only had 5 Best Picture nominees this year, it's possible that those nominees could have been Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, and Emilia Perez. That would have not been super good for the Oscars,
sure.
I think not if Wicked was at 6, which is not unreasonable, and then no Dune Part 2, and then all of a sudden it's a lot of movies people haven't seen.
On the other hand, you and I would probably not have to sit through a Wicked opening number, which is allegedly what is going to happen at the Oscars.
Well, they denied it.
They did
deny it. Now, who knows? That was Matt Bellany's reporting that.
I believe in the reporting of Matt
historically,
Bellany.
yes.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they end up doing. But I think 10 is good. I like 10. The truth is that 10 is historically reasonable because that's how it started. You know, in the 1930s, when we talk about going back to 27, there were more nominees. They were trying to bring in as many titles as possible. And there are way more movies that are made right now. There's 500 films that get released.
Yeah.
Thousands internationally. So I think that the 10 is working well enough. It felt like its impact was felt in a strong way in a year like last year where you had Barbie and Oppenheimer getting over the line. And so the ratings went up a little bit because Oppenheimer was so strong. The year before that, Top Gun made it into the 10. That's something you would have never considered 25 years ago at the Academy Awards. So
I consider it every day in my home.
Using Lieutenant Pete Mitchell to get ratings, but they weren't ever really seriously considering honoring him.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I didn't show up.
As a member of our armed forces.
Yeah.
They should have,
yeah. Would you like to share some more thoughts about the American military right now?
You can check out my thoughts on Lioness on the watch. Yeah, I'm excited to do this. This is a fun exercise.
Okay, so reminder again, the categories are 1930s, 1950s, 1970s, 1990s, 2010s, and Best Picture Loser. Bobby, we need to set the draft order.
Yeah, speaking of Pete Mitchell, bad news is I'm moving, and so I've packed away the Top Gun hat as well as the tiles.
Jesus
so we're going with random.org. I did clear the cookies. I went through great effort. I had to re-sign into everything.
That does suck, especially when you work for Spotify, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, I did that. That's my
Consider
commitment
Face
to the big
ID.
picture.
No. Listen, that happened again
laptop?
in another movie. What movie was it recently where someone was just like, Face ID and stole, someone else's as being?
Oh, it did. They were dead, right?
Yeah.
What?
So there, I actually know what it is, but now I don't want it to be a spoiler. So anyway, don't use Face ID. They haven't secured it.
Was it Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey that you've been seeing dailies on?
Yeah.
Okay, what is our order?
The order will be Sean Fennessey selecting first overall.
Jesus Christ.
Amanda Dobbins selecting second, and Chris Ryan will select third.
I was thinking, I soft pitched this to these guys yesterday. I'm vamping for Sean to decide a strategy. Bob, do you think a Rebel pod feed that's just Chris Ryan's Odyssey updates and is me reading updates about casting, locations, practical effects that no one is employing, the honor that he is bestowing upon Unios. What is like the
UNESCO World
Greek
Sites?
sites?
UNESCO. Not Unios.
You kept saying
Unios is the people who own Manchester United. That's my bad. UNESCO. He is honoring UNESCO sites. He is honoring them.
He is honoring them.
And I know all about him. You know what I mean? Like when I was inside the palace in Split, I was like,
he doesn't need to be rival, okay? Like you should just start like, Reels, TikTok, short film only on this feed. I will light and shoot every single update. I will do it for you. Yes, I will. This is how much I believe in your project.
She's chasing you through backyards
we don't have great
in LA.
Female directors? Wrong. Can you imagine Amanda like a neckerchief on, like framing me up?
I can. Yes,
we all can.
I can see that. I will say, form wise, I would prefer to hear you go long. I don't want short form.
Oh
content.
no, I'm thinking like it's like Barbaro, like the daily. Like every day, it's like I'm Chris Ryan. Today, Christopher Nolan shot in Mykonos.
I think it has to be done though, like not on any of our Spotify sets though, because that's not the energy. So
no, we're sending
fly
Chris
to your
to
house.
Mykonos, and then my spinoff, Chris does Mykonos.
Yeah,
wins us all reality TV
in an authentic Peloponnesian boat for 2 years.
You're being tackled by the national security at the Parthenon.
The only production detail that I've heard about this movie, which we did discuss at dinner last night, is that Christopher Nolan in a sacred ancient cave is having a papier-mâché puppet Cyclops built to scale.
I think I was conflating a couple of different reports and also random tweets that I read before
This is the kind of content you can get from Peloponnesia and me, the CR pod.
I can even plot it out for like the first 8 months. I'm like doing it really straightforward and earnestly, and then I go full Project Veritas and start like not believing one things, and I'm like showing up in Greece and trying to like doorstep Chris Nolan. Sir,
this is how you finally do the Greece trip.
Yeah,
and I'll be free to like follow along as your one woman crew,
And it's also finally time for your Mediterranean diet that we've been talking about for years.
Blue Zone, dog. I can just
is that what we're dialing up?
We're talking about it.
Chris and I have been talking about it for about 18 months. We're sort of soft launching it.
There's a lot of different.
How I eat.
There's a lot of different research on
Blue Zone.
Okay.
It's like how in Sardinia everybody lives so like they're 101. Because they just have like
Are you seriously just about to explain the Mediterranean diet to him for the first time and you've never heard of this?
I know what that is, but I
didn't know what the Blue Zone was. There are parts
was.
of the earth where people live forever because they have like good quality ingredients.
Right, because they eat like olive oil and local, but they smoke and fish though. And that's true, and they have wine. Yeah, it's great.
This is true in many societies that don't strictly consume processed food, though. I mean, across Asia, there was this similar.
I was worried this pod was going to be boring, and it's not.
No. I'm never worried about that at all. With the first, let me just ask a question for the room. I've already made my decision, so this won't influence it. But what do you think is the weakest of the decades?
It depends on your levels of familiarity, but I would say the 2010s.
The 2010s. That's interesting. Okay.
Really?
Personally,
even more so than the 1930s.
I don't know. There were some pretty good movies in the 1930s.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pretty good movies in every year, right? I get the 2010s is interesting. I mean, I have my eye on a few movies, but as you know, I don't love, like we were talking Spotlight the other day, right? A lot of people love that movie. You love that movie.
Do you think Spotlight's better than Gone with the Wind?
Better? I promised you that I would dog walk you into a Margaret Mitchell conversation last night, and here you are trying to walk me into one. Gone with the Wind, what an achievement in production.
I love the music.
Right? Incredible staging, costumes.
A depiction of the South.
Please don't look at me.
Yeah. You were born at Tara, right?
Yeah.
You were the estate depicted in the film.
I wonder if they have renamed. There is literally like an indie movie theater in Atlanta that was still called like the Tara something. I hope they have renamed that.
Yeah. I don't have Gone with the Wind on my board.
Okay.
I can admire its achievement.
There's a good crane shot.
A good crane shot coming down the stairs?
Of all like the
Confederate
dead.
dead.
The
train
station. You know the shot.
You like that because you felt it honored the men who gave their lives during that
No,
struggle.
I'm just a big frame it up, like dolly guy.
Every frame painting, right?
Yeah.
That's what you always say. Okay. Well, With my first pick, just to honor the story I was telling, I'll take The Silence of the Lambs in the 1990s.
That's lovely.
A good pick.
That's a good pick.
It's universally a wonderful movie. I think the 90s is weirdly a little weaker than I would have previously thought when I started doing this exercise.
Yeah.
The Silence of the Lambs is both a very serious and compelling film, and also just a lot of fun and goofy to talk about, as we've done multiple times over the years. One of Jonathan Demme's many masterpieces. Great performances. The last movie to win the Big Five. Best Picture, Director, Actor, Actress, Adapted Screenplay. Do you think that Hopkins should have been in Supporting Actor? Where do you stand on that?
I do not care about category fraud. I'm like, I have said this many times. It's fine. He holds the movie. You can't have the movie without him. Yep. So I'm fine with him an actor.
Okay, cool.
I wonder what would it take for you to get really upset about that? I think it would probably have to be somebody you really believed in losing to something that you thought was category fraud. Can't think of an example of that
though. You could say it's a little early to go 1990s.
Yeah, I mean,
but I want this to be harmonious.
It's also it's like in the process of the pod, there's picks that make sense because of where they're going to go, but then when you see them in a graphic afterwards, you're like, why the fuck did you pick this? You know?
Yes.
That won't happen. You're going to be like, people are going to be like, yes, Silence of the Lambs rules.
Right. I won't have to explain why I've chosen Forrest Gump.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, you're up. Number 2 pick.
I will absolutely be taking It Happened One Night in the 1930s.
God damn it.
I mean, you have to. That would have. I'm
relieved. Strongly considered it.
Thank you for not taking it from me.
I have a personal favorite in this decade.
Well, that's great. My personal favorite is one of the great romantic comedies and one of the most influential movies, and also a winner of the Big Five.
It is. One of only 3?
I feel like there's one that we're forgetting, but anyway.
Okay.
I rewatched part of this movie this morning just to have a nice time, and then I fast forwarded just for the Walls of Jericho.
Claudette Colbert only liked to be photographed on one side of her face.
I sympathize.
Yeah.
Now you understand why we switched chairs.
Well, what if I like to be filmed dead on? That's my preferred angle.
This is a magical movie.
I love it. I was telling you about the series that You Must Remember This is doing right now about The Old Man Is Still Alive. These sort of great filmmakers at the end of their career. Frank Capra was the first episode. And it's amazing what sweet and funny and profound films he made in the 30s and 40s, given what a unkind fucker he seemed like.
Was he really?
Yeah. Just some really unseemly stuff. And a lot of public stuff. And, this is certainly in an era of pre-cancellation and all that. But and he seemed like not that person when he was making these movies. And then later in life kind of soured on a lot of things. But, this is the guy who made Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and It's a Wonderful Life and Capra-esque, one of the rare adjectival filmmakers. There are 3 Big Five winners. It Happened One Night, The Silence of the Lambs, and another movie that is eligible today. Maybe we'll get to it. If we don't, I'll cite it at the end if I have a memory that is strong enough to do so, which is usually not the case. Okay, Chris, you've got 2 picks.
Alrighty. Kind of all over the place. I did not anticipate you taking It Happened One Night, but congratulations. I'm going to take Unforgiven in the 90s.
Ooh. Okay.
Good.
It's a couple movies here that I still really like a lot, but Unforgiven is my second favorite Best Picture winner next to Silence of the Lambs, so I'll grab that while it's still there. Clint Eastwood's supposed to be a capstone on his career in some ways, and then he just kept cranking them out.
Yep. It's been 33 years since this movie came out.
It's crazy. Are we what's the time span between Unforgiven and The Mule?
That's 2019. So it's 27 years.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love this movie still. We recently enough did it on Rewatchables, I think last year.
It's probably 5 years ago, but okay.
Perfect Western, great performances from Hackman and Richard Harris and Morgan Freeman. And so I'll take that in the 90s. And then I got to take All Quiet on the Western Front from the 1930s, which is not one that I jam a lot, but did watch in conjunction with Edward Berger's version of it.
Sure.
That was on Netflix a couple years ago and was also a Best Picture in the Hunt Best Picture movie. And this is, quite a good piece of cinema history, if maybe not like a movie-going experience, but is thought of as one of the great anti-war films of all time.
I also rewatched it when we did that podcast and was blown away by it. I think it's an amazing movie. I think it's legitimately a 5-star classic and absolutely sets the template for war films made by Hollywood.
Why don't you trade Silence of the Lambs to me for All Quiet on the Western Front? You seem like a huge fan.
No.
Okay.
But I do think it's a great movie, and I think if people haven't seen it, it's really interesting that even back in 1930, that writers and filmmakers and actors were able to like nail down the experience in that storytelling. Very good movie.
It's up to you now.
I'm gonna take The Godfather Part 2 in the 70s.
Okay. 70s are rich.
Yeah,
that's great.
I feel weird that I'm getting The Godfather
Part 2. So you think better than Part 1?
I guess so, because I went for it.
Yeah, because obviously that's where I will go next.
Yeah. But I think with both, maybe it's just because I have rewatched Part 2 a couple times more recently, and I think you can toggle back and forth.
Have you ever watched the linear cut? What is that called?
Yeah.
When it's like it starts with.
Is it The Godfather Legacy?
Yeah, that's
right.
I really enjoy watching it that way.
Yeah, where we start with Vito.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I watched them as they were released.
As God and Francis Coppola intended.
But probably the best single cinematic performance of all time, Pacino in this one. If you had to pick, amazing. Yeah. Even when he's against Diane Keaton, who is woefully miscast, screaming abortion. But that's okay. What are you going to do? She's good at this.
This must all end.
It was an abortion, Michael.
She's very good in the scene in the kitchen when she comes back at the end. Spoiler, I guess.
Would you say it's because she is a woman, like because it's a female character in a world where you feel they don't belong?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I'm only watching for the dudes. I mean, The Godfather's great too, but I think
very generous of you.
Yeah. You know what? He did a good job. FFC, thumbs up. Yes.
The Godfather chronological cut is called The Godfather Saga. The Godfather Legacy is a TV movie about the making of, I believe.
I haven't seen that.
I have not. We never really talked about The Offer.
I watched the whole thing.
Will you guys be talking about the studio in this podcast?
Well, it's a TV show.
I know.
I've seen a few episodes.
Can we be invited to talk about it on your podcast?
We could do a crossover episode.
I never get invited to the watch.
That's not true.
It's been a long time. I thank you for my shout out. I caught up.
Little something going on here. A little spikiness. It's uncommon.
Sometimes an actor and director, there's a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
We're keeping the energy alive.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of Pacino and Friedkin and on the set of Cruising here.
Yeah.
I'll take The Godfather.
Yeah.
The Godfather would have been my pick over 2, but we're talking about 50.1% to 49.9% in terms of preference. I just think it sets the template for the storytelling type. And it's like, if you do watch The Offer, which I would say is a wildly slanted in the direction of the producer of the film, even then you can kind of suss out what an amazing and unlikely success story this is and all of the things that Coppola was able to smuggle into the production and story of the film. Not least of which is basically shooting it in the darkness and still making it feel incredibly beautiful and deep. And
great shot, Gordo.
Great shot, Gordo. Obviously inspired by Gordon Willis, the cinematographer of the movie. I think, as somebody who believes that the 70s is the best decade in the history of American movies, I think the winners are like really great and maybe the best winners ever, but still not as great as I want them to be. So I find this category
because
really
like
interesting.
Altman's not there or something, or like what is it that you feel like there's not the best pictures don't wind up representing the mood of the.
Yeah, it's like not the Friedkin movie I would pick. It's not the Jack Nicholson centerpiece that I would pick. It's not even the sports movie that I would pick. You know what I mean? Like
I agree.
There's a few variations on what they do, but the Godfather picks are the right picks. Those are the dead on perfect picks in that decade. So that's my first one. Okay, I got another pick. And tough situation here.
What's tough about it?
Well, there's 2 different decades that I want to choose from here.
Gone with the Wind and what else?
That's not a decade. That's a film. I mean, I'll tell you, it's either the 2010s or it's the 1950s, right?
Yeah.
I've got a movie at the top of both of those lists that I absolutely love.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't get them, it's going to be a little disappointing.
Okay.
So I've got to make a choice. And
now's your time.
I think I'll take Parasite.
That's what I was wondering if you were going to do.
I think I have to because of what you said about the 2010s. And in the 1950s, there's a few movies that I have a strong love for. The 2010s is a pretty short list of movies I genuinely love that won. I really think 12 Years a Slave is a great film. It's not a movie that I'm like is in my personal head canon. Parasite is. Parasite is one of the great movies.
It's also very strange to look at the 2010s, even the winners, in a long list of all of these other Best Picture winners, and you're just like, these are not in the same class.
Is that just a function of time?
I don't think so. I personally don't think the winners in the 10s would be nominated in the 90s.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I think that's personal bias.
Maybe.
Because I don't know. This came up when we were on the Sam Sanders show. And he was saying the same thing. He was just like, I remember in 1992, it was like, these are the best movies.
Yeah.
And everybody agrees. And we all went to go see them. And we love them together. And I think that's sort of a little bit of what you're getting at too, where it's like, The Shape of Water was a recent point of discussion where we're like, what happened here? Why did this movie win over Lady Bird and Get Out and Dunkirk? Like, what actually, why did this happen? Parasite, not the case. Parasite is an interesting win because it was in a year that had a ton of awesome contenders. This is the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood year. 1917 was the front runner all the way up until the moment when it was revealed that Parasite won.
One of the great big picture moments. Is like getting excited when you were like cut live.
Yeah,
and you're like,
that's right. And your voice cracked. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it was really, really exciting. I think in some ways the Parasite win is sort of similar to the Shape of Water win, which is that Bong Joon-ho, amongst film fans and people in the industry, was really, really, really admired as a truly original voice and somebody who'd been working hard for a long time. But the movie also had that phenomenon quality of like, this came out of nowhere. And a lot of people were like, I've never seen one movie made in Korea, let alone one of the greatest movies ever made. So, a movie that still I think resonates really deeply and is a lot of fun to watch and is back in the news with the forthcoming release of Mickey 17 next month.
So Godfather and Parasite.
Yes.
Really well done.
Okay. So I have a pick?
Indeed.
Okay. So I have 50s, 90s, and 2010s. And I have, and it's you that I'm up against. And whatever Sean says, I don't really feel the enmity that is percolating
between you two.
He's just trying to be a divisive figure in our work together.
That's not true.
I guess that. What else is left in 90s? Let me look at this really quickly because there's one that
how is this a conversation?
I know what I want.
Okay.
But
you're more like, can I pass on it now?
Yeah.
But we've already chosen 90s.
You've chosen it too? Yeah. Oh, okay, great. Then I don't need to do it right now.
I could kneecap you.
Yeah. If you do that, okay.
I feel like you're getting your board.
That's a great point.
Would you say?
I probably, yes. If he kneecaps me, then I still have another option. So
it's not the best year to kneecap you.
Well, I don't know which one you think is a kneecap.
Ooh, interesting. I could kneecap you.
Well, there are actually two options in which you could kneecap me. So in that way.
Yeah.
But so you can't really because I have two options. So
yeah, but one is superior to the other, I think.
I mean, I do as well. Okay, fine. I'll do Titanic.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
That's not what I thought you were picking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it isn't?
No, I thought she was going to take English Patient.
Right, and that would be my other option. But I agree that. But if you had taken Good Will Hunting to kneecap me, that would have been a really good pick by you. And also,
I agree. That would have been a great draft moment.
Right.
See, because I thought you guys were saying somebody could pick Fargo or Jerry Maguire.
That too. That would have been good too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I forgot.
But if she had passed and that had happened, she could have just taken Titanic.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if he had taken Good Will
movie.
Hunting, I could have taken English Patient. So it was okay, but I feel good about Titanic.
Yeah. And did you consider Braveheart? No?
I was big mad at Braveheart all year because that was the Apollo 13 year and Sense and Sensibility.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. So I need 70s, 50s, and loser, correct? And 10s. And 10s. 50s. I'll do Bridge on the River Kwai. David Lean's epic but intimate portrait of the war, finding soldiers wherever they are, even in a prison of war camp, and the construction of this bridge from Burma to Thailand that Alec Guinness is overseeing and that William Holden is trying to destroy. And just incredible performances. Lean at his non-Lawrence best, I would probably say.
This is the first of his 2 Best Picture wins.
Yeah. Love this movie.
I'm still so jealous that you got to see Lawrence of Arabia.
One of the great movie-going experiences of my life was going to see it at the American Cinematheque.
When the 70mm festival comes around next fall, we should make some plans around
I would like to go.
Do you think we could start recording from the van that's driving around all the reels of 70?
We'll make some calls. As you know, I am associated with that movie.
You can drive it. You can drive. Once again, I'll be the GoPro in the passenger
It'll be
seat.
a great opportunity for Peloponnesian and me, since we know that several Nolan films will be playing at that festival.
So you have Parasite. You don't have a 2010s?
No.
Man, oh man, oh man.
There are 2 good options.
For the 2010s?
Yeah. You take one, I'll take the other. It's fine. The Oscars.
I guess I'll take Argo.
They're fine. What?
What? Wasn't that the 2010s? What are you thinking?
Well, I have a choice now. Okay, I love the work
I like
of Ben
Argo more than
Affleck.
Spotlight.
I like Argo, and I love the work of Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
So that's great. I saw it several times.
Fine.
Argo's fine. I mean, I don't have a lot of passion for these 2010s movies.
Interesting that you've been creating during this period.
What does that mean?
Well, just that it's become the economy of your opinion in this era, you know? And so maybe
The 10s? Yeah, I guess so.
That's your rise.
My rise is really
no,
like
no. It was the 2000, right? You were like indie.
was
When
more
was Conclave so real?
Trump won is when I really started to pop.
No.
No, I mean like public facing. Like Conclave So Real was a great time for me personally and the 9 guys who knew about it.
Right, but like that's where the legend starts. Come on. You know, but you were there on the ground floor.
I think what I'm trying to communicate is that Chris became a well-known public opinion haver about culture in the 2010s. And so you
think I picked Argo so that I can
you hardened your stance at that time.
Our faces are not on the logo.
Less kind of like,
you know, it's like I've been covering the Eagles for 10 years. I'm no longer a fan of the team.
I don't know. I don't know if it was me. It was me or is it cinema? You know?
What do you think?
I think it was cinema, man. I think it was. I think I got hurt too many times in the 10s.
We talked about this last night too. About was Iron Man a common good ultimately, or did it destroy everything?
Amanda sat down and said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
Amanda was like,
"No, I did some kids updates.
I'll have a whispering angel, and I want to talk about whether or not Tony Stark." And then we saw a guy at the movies wearing a Philadelphia Eagles Tony Stark jersey.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see
Chris
that.
and I saw that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Chris befriended that man.
Really?
No.
Okay. I was like, where was I?
He's doing Odyssey updates with me now.
Okay. Damn it. I'm the producer. You have to let me know.
Okay.
So Argo was your 2010s.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got Birds on the River Kwai and Argo. I'm okay. I'm fine.
Okay. So I think I'm going to do 1950s. I'm going to take All About Eve.
Yeah.
Surprised you didn't take American in Paris.
That was my backup. And I love American in Paris. And we have, especially the I Got Rhythm scene is sort of like my fashion lodestar in addition to being one of the great cinematic achievements, even though it did sort of steal all of the, famously American in Paris won Best Picture. Singing in the Rain was not even nominated.
Oh.
So
it's a bit of a controversial Oscar year because it's also the year that A Streetcar Named Desire and A Place in the Sun were nominated, which are considered 2 of the great American movies that have like more of a dark core. So it's like they picked the wrong musical starring Gene Kelly and also, Streetcar changed movie acting forever.
Yeah.
All of that is true. I didn't pick it, but I'm reclaiming American in Paris back. I think we're underappreciating it a little bit. It's like, it's good. I mean, it's so beautiful to look at.
It's a good movie.
And the choreography, and it's a different style of dance that is filmed very beautifully, and you don't get to see that much. So, Gene Kelly forever.
All About Eve.
But I picked All About Eve because that's one of the best and most influential movies of in cinema history
ever made.
Yeah, just very I don't know, performances, the concept of Eve.
They're still doing All About Eve-esque stories.
The screenwriting, everything, you can just say All About Eve, and everyone understands what you're talking about in terms of a person in the world, it's character development, it's all time. So there we go.
I love All About Eve. I definitely had it on my list. So you both have films in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
You both have films in the 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You both have films in the 1990s.
Yes. And 10. I have a 10.
And you have a film in the 10s. Amanda does not. I have a film in the 10s. So I need 30s and 50s. Or I need a blocker. Doesn't really make sense to block anything in the 2010s for Amanda because she's got 2 picks because you chose Argo. So that's out. Let me just work through this here.
Sure.
Your 2 picks. Never mind.
Amanda. Yeah, you're missing 1970s right now.
I'm not worried about that because it's either Butch and Sundance or Woodman. So I'll just jump in there. And you guys already
Butch
picked
and
1970s.
Sundance are not eligible for that category.
I meant the guys.
Okay.
I meant the guys.
Okay. Do you want to vamp about Woodman while I game theory out the rest of my draft?
No.
You don't? Okay. No. Well, for 1930s, I'll take a movie that I was telling you about that I really love, which is Mutiny on the Bounty, which I think is one of the most underrated of the Best Picture winners that features one of my favorite screen performances of all time, Charles Laughton's performance as Captain Bligh. When I was a kid, AFI did 100 Years, 100 Movies, where they ranked, according to the American Film Institute and the people that they polled, the most important American movies. This, much like that Silence of the Lambs Academy Awards, is a signal event of my life because it got me on the path of absorbing film history.
Right.
And trying to go through the list and watch as much as I could. And I wish I had a copy of that special, which I think aired on CBS, because the clips that they showed of Laughton yelling at Clark Gable after he is marooned off the ship is just electrifying shit. And I always like this adaptation. There have been many adaptations over the years. I guess the most recent one is probably Mel Gibson. Oh, no, that's Cane Mutiny.
Oh, that's Cane Mutiny. Sorry.
Yeah. I think it's Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins in the late 80s did a version of this called The Mutiny, which is not that great. But I really love this one. So that'll be my 1930s pick. Thought about You Can't Take It With You, another movie that I really like.
Yeah.
But
it's good, but I also rewatched it as a backup. And then I was I would prefer to be watching It Happened One Night.
Yeah, you already got the superior Capra.
Yeah, and it does feel like the Academy was just sort of in a groove of okay, the Frank Capra romantic comedy
gets to be the best picture.
That this is what we're doing.
Mutiny on the Bounty. I guess it was the best film of that year.
1950s?
So I need 1950s. To me, there's only one pick. And it's On the Waterfront.
Sure.
Elia Kazan's incredible adaptation of Bud Schulberg's story about a boxer and some gangsters in Hoboken, New Jersey, and the loss of the soul of America. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Incredible Carl Malden performance as the priest, right? He gets really upset on behalf of...
Do you think in our relationship, am I more of the Steiger and you're more of the Brando?
I hope so.
But you're older than me.
Steiger's older than Brando?
Yeah, he's the big brother.
I think I have a more youthful spirit than you, though.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't you?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still out here doing stuff. You know what I mean?
What?
Like going to see Cameron Winter. You know what I mean?
You've cited your attendance at the Cameron Winter concert to me this week 9 times. Nine times. One man goes to one concert, wants his hand shaken for that attendance. On the Waterfront, I do think kind of changed the conscience of American movie making. Elia Kazan also somewhat, unfortunately, I think, using that film to communicate about why he did certain things in terms of House on American Activities and what it means to be a rat and what it means to be an informer and what it means to be
he still doesn't
cornered.
get applauded, right?
Yes, he's a very controversial figure.
Yeah, Ed Harris still is just like, nope.
Yes, but he was a hell of a movie maker, and it's a great movie. Okay, Amanda.
In Best Picture loser, I will take a film called The Social Network, which is available.
It's great.
I mean, this one, like the Best Picture, like loser, there are so many good ones.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't really explore the blocking thing. So then it's just kind of like so many of our favorite movies that got nominated and did not win. But The Social Network is eligible, and that's a good film.
It's a great movie. Do you like it more than Inception?
I do.
You do? Okay.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's pretty tight.
Pretty tight.
It's pretty tight. You don't think it's pretty tight? Oh, you don't like Inception. That's right. That's
How
before
would you?
That was like you were more of a.
I love you so much. I am producing, filming,
What happened?
editing,
You were directing it, or have you taken yourself
lighting,
out of the director's chair?
directing. I'm doing all of it.
But
You know, your Christopher Nolan mini
bit
series. I was about to say mini series, but why limit it? I think Inception is good.
It's not better than Social Network.
I have stood with you for the most part against his insanity.
I'm just saying you take the phone call.
Yeah.
You have the meeting.
With whom?
It's a Billism. You have the meeting about whether Inception's better than Social Network.
Who are
I
you
can
meeting
give you
with?
my answer right now.
Me
My answer,
and
No.
like the grand poobahs of Hollywood. We just sit down and we talk it out.
Those poobahs are
Me,
sitting right here.
QT,
Yeah. Yeah.
PTA, Spielberg.
QT has weighed in on this.
He likes Inception, I bet.
Not
I
as much
believe he
as the
said
Social Network.
is the best movie of the decade.
I'm just trying. It's good
content.
throwing ideas out.
It's good
Yeah.
content. Yeah.
Inception. Could you just explain it to me? Just from the very beginning.
Yeah. You want me to explain it from the very beginning?
Yep.
Right now.
Yep.
Do it in 90 seconds. And then this will be
I can't do
yes,
that.
you can. Go. Come on.
But that has nothing to do with whether it's better Social
I'm
Network.
starting
Dom
the clock.
Cobb
Go.
is a dream thief.
I don't have
He
a second
goes
hand on this
into
watch.
people's subconscious while they're dreaming,
Yeah.
extracts their secrets, usually for corporate gain.
Okay.
And then he reveals that he has been like basically exiled from home, wherever that is, presumably America, because of some job he pulled and the death of his wife, Mal, right?
Mal.
Yeah.
I
Who
forgot
died
that-
in limbo,
Yes.
which is a layer of the subconscious dreamscape. But one last job
that was her
will
name.
get him home to his
Bad.
children
Thank you.
who are being raised by Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
he's
there's the
co-parenting.
meme of like, why can't Leo, like Michael Caine, just bring the children to France
Well,
or
also,
whatever?
but the kids don't have faces. What's up with that? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
What is up with it? Could you explain it?
Yeah.
They might not be. They might not exist.
Oh.
Did they
okay.
die or were they never alive?
They're figments. They're figments of his subconscious. Yeah.
But were they ever alive?
I don't think so, personally.
Okay.
I think they were children born in limbo and thus not real. You know. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Tom Hardy are wearing incredible jackets and doing amazing stuff with
And
gravity.
the world folds over on
and then
itself.
Your
and
Majesty's
then,
Secret
yeah. They do the
Service
skiing.
happens.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But shooting. And
Yeah.
Is there any
then
skiing in Social Network?
And then
I didn't
they
choose it. I don't
slow down La Vie en Rose, or is it Je ne regrette rien?
I think it's
Je ne regrette rien.
rien.
Yeah,
You're just
Je ne
getting your
regrette
P
rien.
off confused because of Marion.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
La Vie en Rose was also the biopic was released around this Oscar time.
She was cooking.
And she gave the great Oscar speech of,
Yeah.
it is true that there are angels in the city tonight.
Did you see that she recently apologized for her performance as Talia al
I
Ghul?
thought you were about to say she apologized for something
What were
else.
her thoughts on 9/11?
She said that she realizes now that her death scene was not adequate. And
Yeah.
that
Not
she-
adequate.
She was just like, sometimes you just can't find the right position. And
because you know her neck's broken, but
it doesn't happen. She's like, it sucks. I
She was
screwed
like,
it up.
I sucked in that scene.
Could you do an impression of her apologizing for that scene? Okay. What is
Bob, do you think Inception's better than Social Network?
No.
Je suis?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I am?
don't.
I am. Yeah.
How do you say?
I
I'm
do
sorry?
think Inception is good though. I'm with you on that.
Very brave take.
Yeah, I know it's good.
I would take the call. However, I
désolé.
would not Nico Harrison the situation and
I
trade.
think Patrick Dumont convenes his decision makers
to
talk about whether or not Inception is better than Social Network.
You taking Inception over Social Network does have strong AD for Luca vibes.
I like how we're just
retconning
it. He didn't actually.
I didn't
take
do that.
Inception.
I fucked up and took Argo, and I didn't really even fuck up. I just took it too early.
Yeah. You liked Argo because it was about Hollywood. Is that what it was?
I mean, it's a classic Best Picture winner, isn't it?
It
Because
is.
it's about the beauty.
A classic Best Picture speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marriage is hard.
Yeah. Cut to 18 months later, divorced. Argo is based on a true story.
Yeah.
It's about getting a team together to make something.
Yes.
And it is...
It also pushes the boundaries of fact or fiction.
Let me ask you this. What do you think about Ben Affleck not being included in the 5 directors for Best Director that year? Did you think it was a crime?
Who else was who was nominated that year?
Marion Cotillard for her YouTube comments.
Steven Spielberg for Lincoln, which did not win.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, Argo.
I've been trying to get Lincoln on rewatchables.
I know, but you picked Argo instead of Lincoln.
Did you hear Chris and I tell the story about us being at Ye Rustic on like a Wednesday night, and there were like 40 TVs in the bar?
Wasn't it after Romulus?
Yeah, we went to go see Gladiator 2.
That's right.
Okay.
And then Chris, God bless him, at like 10:15 p.m. after the 2 hours and 40 minutes of Gladiator 2, was like, "You want to go get a drink?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I really shouldn't because I'm going to be up in 6 hours.
But he did it.
But I did go out. We went to Ye Rustic Inn, which we used to go to all the time in the
Right.
2010s and never go to anymore. We walk in, 40 televisions on. They're all playing NBA games, except for one television in the center of the bar, which is attuned to TCM showing a screening of Lincoln. And Chris and I stopped talking.
And we were just like, watch Tommy Lee Jones cook with a wig on.
I honestly so moved.
And get amendments passed.
And
It's
I understood
crazy.
everything with no dialogue.
Yeah.
We couldn't hear the film.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I knew exactly what was happening and where we were in the movie.
Seafront test, yeah.
And we were so touched. And then like 4 or 5 days later, we were on the rewatchables and we just started bullying Bill about Lincoln. But then he didn't say
I
that we could do it.
I did hear that, yeah.
And we really...
The 40th
I would like to do
anniversary
it.
of Witness has come and gone. So.
Oh, no. Did you send your note?
No, I asked you to pass the message along.
Oh, yeah. I didn't do that. Sorry about that.
Well, technically, we're still in the... No, now it's 2 weeks when this airs.
Do you like Witness?
I love Witness. Yeah.
Do you think it's great?
Yeah, I think it's really good.
Okay. I think I said to Amanda, it's top 8 Peter Weir.
So?
Is it better than Mosquito Coast, do you think?
I love that movie, but it is better than that movie. But I love that movie.
Do you think it's better than Master and Commander?
No.
Do you think it's better than White Squall? Is that
Yes.
Peter Weir?
No,
Yes.
that's Ridley Scott.
That's Ridley Scott.
Oh.
No, he had a boat movie, though.
Mosquito Coast.
Oh.
Let me see if I can do it off the top of my head.
Okay.
Picnic at Hanging Rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's not better
The
than
Last
Picnic at Hanging Rock.
Waves. The Last Wave. Fearless.
Oh, I love Fearless.
Great movie.
Just drives into a wall listening to U2 because he can't die.
Dead Poet Society.
Yeah.
The Way Back. The Truman Show.
Mm-hmm.
There's one more. Oh, Master and Commander.
Did he make
And then-
he didn't
and
make
then-
another boat movie?
And then for me comes Witness. I'm not. I
You
think
were
Witness
doing
is
them
really
ranking?
good. That wasn't
was
the
a
ranking, but those
that
are
was
the 7 in front of
chronological,
it.
except for a weird jump he made, and then he was like, "Witness is not as good as these." A bunch of these.
Those are the 7 that I would put.
If
before
Witness starred Paul Giamatti, would you think it was that?
No, but it is. Listen, when this is in the world, our thoughts about Red Hulk will also be in the world.
Uh-huh.
And I spent some time last night watching my wonderful Harrison Ford,
Mm-hmm. Your beautiful boy.
my beautiful boy, and just being like, "This is a disgrace."
on a Peloton. Yeah,
that was kind of funny. Like, it wasn't that
It was
funny.
the
That's
only funny
thing.
part of
But
the
it wasn't even that funny. They just like put him on a Peloton. Anyway, you know what? Once upon a time, like Harrison Ford is a movie star, and if you don't know how to use him, you fucked up. And Peter Weir didn't fuck up.
is it my turn?
I believe it is.
I agree with you. I think Witness is great. It doesn't depict Philadelphia police in the greatest of lights.
Well, maybe it's just honest filmmaking.
Witness,
Also,
of course, nominated for Best Picture.
teaches you how to build a house, but in the 80s. So
In the
it's not eligible for this
1970s?
draft.
Hang on, I thought it was back to Sean.
Isn't it? I feel like I haven't picked it in a long time.
Maybe
What did
not.
you just
Maybe it is
select?
back to Chris.
I just picked Social Network.
I believe it's to Chris.
It's to Chris.
Right.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
In 1970s, I'm going to take The Sting.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's a real cuck pick.
Because I didn't take Annie Hall?
My parents tried to make me watch The Sting when I was like 8.
Do you not like The Sting?
No, I've loved The Sting, but once again, 8 is too young to watch The Sting.
I just watch The Sting the most out of all these movies.
It's just like, show me Star Wars.
So you think, this is really interesting. The Sting is obviously a great, like a lot of fun. Tremendously entertaining movie.
Uh-huh.
And you get why, and it was sort of like they didn't totally recognize Butch Cassidy, and they needed to maybe go out of their way to acknowledge this movie that everyone agreed was a great time at the movies.
But was not like important.
It's not really about anything.
Okay.
It's just an adventure movie. And the Oscars often, though not always, attempts to award.
I think I'm picking movies I like rather than movies that are like the best pictures. I think that's true. I would say Annie Hall and Deer Hunter are probably more important films. French Connection even maybe is a more important film.
That was going to be my question is, do you think this over the Deer Hunter?
I've definitely seen this 20 times more than the Deer Hunter. I think I've seen the Deer Hunter like 5 times. I've seen the Sting like 100 times.
The Deer Hunter is quite long.
It is quite long.
My dad just likes to watch the first half.
Not an easy sit.
Your dad just likes the Pennsylvania stuff?
Yeah. Seriously, for his 70th.
This is better than saying I just like the second half.
He watched the first half of the Deer Hunter and had pancakes for dinner.
That's cool.
Shout out my
Meryl
dad.
Streep's great in
What
that.
a legend.
Again, The Deer Hunter, another movie that I'm like, when you're making comparisons to The Brutalist, these movies have so much in common. They're so similar. The bifurcation, the crazy stuff in the second half. You've been denying
him that The Deer Hunter is important to The Brutalist.
No, because I think I'm always...
He's just like the brutalist, and he knows I got him a little, so...
I like the pushback. I think when I
said that the first half of it was transcendent. Then I had some notes.
What did we quote you saying? I haven't been able to.
No, it's living rent-free
in my head.
Which I think users of the internet will understand that isn't like 100% an endorsement.
Right. And Brutalist Industries has commodified that pull quote.
That's fine.
No, the point I was going to make with The Deer Hunter is, whenever people are like, did that character really have to do that at the end of The Brutalist? I'm like, have you seen the end of The Deer Hunter? The guy's playing fucking Russian roulette and he won't leave Vietnam. Like, what are you talking about? This is what movies do. Crazy shit happens in the second half of movies that makes us have emotional catharsis. Anyway, that's why I find like all of those criticisms super lame. I digress. That was not a criticism of your criticisms. I would have taken The Deer Hunter over The Sting, but The Sting's great.
The Sting is great. Robert Redford and Paul Newman and George Roy Hill's caper about a con they're pulling in the
1920s.
Well, not the Roaring 20s. I think it's the Depression. It's the 30s. When's the Prohibition happening?
20s into
the 30s. Set
in
1936.
There you go. Annie Hall is very high up there. French Connection is very high up there.
Mm-hmm.
I like Kramer versus Kramer. But for my loser,
well, quickly before you move on, the third film that won the Big Five is also in the 1970s. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For Louise Fletcher, Nicholson, Milos Forman. Picture screenplay.
For a loser, I'll take Goodfellas. 1990.
It's a good pick.
It's a good one.
Among my favorite
seen that film.
2 or 3 films.
Mm-hmm.
And tragic that this did not win.
It's an abomination.
Yeah. Maybe the great, even I think it's a good pick because it's one of the greatest crimes in Oscar history.
Mm-hmm.
It's particularly amusing now because both Open Range and the Horizon films are going to end up being better than Dances with Wolves. And we really rushed to anoint Kevin as the great cinematic visionary. Open Range is fire.
I know. We can't go back to the Kevin Costner thing right now. We can't relitigate
not only fire, it's hot fire.
Did you see all the streets? They're talking about Horizon Part 2.
I know.
Yeah.
I was with you on the night when I was like, I had a ticket.
Yeah, but that was like original,
fuck.
like, oh, people are too close to this. But the reviews are strong.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm so pumped, and it's never coming out.
What if this is like the true reinvention of avant-garde independent cinema? Is like taking our files or our reels of Horizon Part 2 and going around the country and showing it in people's like garages and stuff.
Yeah, road showing it.
Yeah,
independendly. That sounds good to me.
Is that your next podcast?
I would like it to be.
Are you hoping for me to direct and light that for you?
I don't think you have respect for my face, so I'm not sure that I want you to light me.
That's not true. You don't have respect for your face. I'm trying to get you to cut back on exfoliating, you know?
You think you exfoliate too much?
He exfoliates every time he's in the shower, which is every day.
Oh, you're not supposed to do that, right?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my skin is clear. I don't know
It's
what
like
you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's not just about like
I moisturize.
No. Everyone who is listening who knows about these things is screaming a little because we want what's good for you.
What actually is happening to me? Like, what is
you're damaging your skin
You're
barrier?
sloughing off
Yeah,
your
you're over exfoliating and
Mhm.
you're making it like weak and sad. And you only need to exfoliate once or twice a week.
But like, what's bad that I'm doing? Like, what's the
bad?
downside?
You're just like literally you're scraping off your skin
Uh-huh.
at
But
an aggressive
what's
rate.
What's gonna happen that's bad?
You
ever see Scanners?
I think I'm just waiting for like a medical issue here.
No, but
Does it make it more exposed to the
Like
sun?
I don't care
Yes,
how I
more
look
exposed to-
anyway. So what is
then
really?
why are you exfoliating?
But I don't go in the sun
but why are you exfoliating?
because I want my skin. I want to be clean. Like I don't want to have like blemishes.
Right. But actually, your skin can be over exfoliated and then like start overproducing oil to try to rehydrate it in
I've got
order
to tell
to.
you something. That's not happening.
Okay,
I've beaten the
it's
system.
Too much irritation,
Perhaps
redness.
we should consider that I am the skinfluencer in this equation.
Yeah, it's true.
And that I have landed on a new methodology.
Are you using like St. Ives? Like
You
what
have
are
like
you
a little
using?
bit of like a you look down your nose a little bit at some of our favored drugstore brands. You know
No,
that?
St. Ives. Like
I feel like because you took a shot at me
Excuse-
for using Old Spice once, and I was like,
okay,
Old Spice got me
well,
through high
Old
school.
Spice is
is I got laid for
is
the first time wearing Old
manufactured-
Spice. Stay in your lane. Chicks dig Old Spice. All right.
Yeah. I think it's Nivea is the brand.
Okay, St. Ives is like notorious. That was like a product of our youth.
Yeah.
But that is like
Smells
actually
great.
just like plastic beads that are just like scratching your
Yeah,
skin and scarring them. So that's bad. I use drugstore products every single day. I use Cetaphil and I use CeraVe. So
I like
eat
those
shit.
products as well. No, I like those products both, but I just feel like sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, I use this, and you're just like, oh my God, Chris, like, or you're gonna die tomorrow.
Well, it's just Old Spice. Like you are no longer 17 or whatever
In terms of my
age you
scent,
were when you got laid for the first time, which I don't need to know.
Why don't you recap that night for us? So a man wakes
this
up,
pod would do
puts on some
incredible
Old
numbers
Spice.
if I did that.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I just, at some point we need to act our age, but that's okay.
I act my age. I have like
But
different.
so you're still wearing Old Spice?
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, that's fine.
But I switch up
do you-
the scent every once in a while.
Okay.
I go like volcano.
But so
Fiji,
you're not
timber.
into.
What's wrong with that?
What was today?
I think I'm on a Fiji run.
And how would you describe?
Do you think I
it?
smell bad? I also like sometimes I put on a little bit of like a tobacco cologne, but then I overwhelm myself with the scent.
Oh my God.
You okay?
Sort of circling back. We have another pod to record immediately after this. So, did you make a pick?
Yeah, I took Goodfellas.
Yeah. Now, what are you doing?
What am I doing?
Ken's.
2010s. I'm gonna take Moonlight.
Yeah.
Which as like when we talk about the history of Best Picture, we talk about the last 10 years. Sean writes like a whole thing. That was mean, and I'm not trying to be mean. I really still am stuck on Fiji, Old Spice.
Sean writes a whole thing. What are you talking about?
The night that Moonlight won Best Picture, you
Mhm.
wrote a piece that was like, "This is a new Academy. This is changing the way that we
right.
understand Best Picture," and that has been just kind of a turning point, I think, in our understanding. And like
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
shows,
I think that's true.
I think that's true,
Yeah.
and I agree with you.
I'm not always
But
right, but that time I
since
was.
we talk about it in the historical terms so often that I think we forget what a wonderful movie it is.
Agreed.
And
True.
and beautiful, and the experience of, I mean, that Mahershala Ali scene in the water the first time, and giving us Barry Jenkins as a filmmaker. It wasn't his first film, but that kind of sets him on his path to Beale Street and to Underground Railroad and to other
Mufasa.
live
and
action.
to Mufasa, the
yeah,
Lion King.
Sure.
Which I'll have you know has turned out to be quite a box office success after its initial underperformance. It is kind of the greatest showman of this year.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Moonlight, beautiful film.
I love it. Yeah.
Augustus Bader. What's that cream?
Oh, Augustinus Bader.
I use that.
Think. Which one?
The one that comes in like the little like
you use the rich
cream?
Yeah, I mean they all come in the dark blue. That's the packaging. So you use the rich cream?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Really?
On my face.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
I have been thinking about. I'm almost done with my vintner's daughter, and I was thinking about upgrading.
And sometimes I use Drunken Elephant.
No, you use that a lot. That's like your product. But is the rich cream? Are you borrowing it from Phoebe? Or
my wife keeps all this stuff. Yeah, it's just like you can have this.
Yours,
it's in a bottle.
But the Drunk Elephant is yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's exciting. Augustinus Bader was the cream in Challengers.
I recall the name.
And they also made the Sophia lip balm.
So I'm done.
You're done, and you're done.
Yeah.
And you have the loser. And you have like all this cinema to pick from.
I have the entire history of movies to choose.
I'm sure you'll be very cool about it and not read a list of
what do you mean?
85 to 100 films.
I only have 26 listed here. What do you mean?
Okay. Why? Okay, 26. You can read them. Read them.
No. Can I
guess?
I was getting comfortable. I was ready. Go ahead.
You can guess.
Get Out.
No. Well, now I feel the 2010s has been taken, so I'd like to choose something from an era that was not already selected.
Wolf
so you
of Wall
chose
Street.
1990, and she chose 2010s. So maybe I should go to a different decade, right? So 30s, 50s, 70s.
Oh,
would be eligible
all day long. Let's go.
Network.
It's on the long list.
All the President's Men.
It's on the long
that
list.
was almost what I did.
Would have been a good one.
Thank you.
Perfect film.
I agree.
If I had to choose a Nicholson movie from this era, it would be Chinatown.
But you can't have Chinatown because I did Godfather Part 2.
That's right.
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now is on the list. MASH.
Oh.
There are other Altmans I would have nominated for Best Picture.
Sorry, Big
MASH.
Shot. Okay.
I think MASH is cool. I think it's a cool movie. I know why it was a phenomenon. I get it. It is just, it's not in my upper crust of Altman favorites personally.
Okay.
Jaws.
I
mean, you could.
Jaws.
What else? Now I'm going 50s.
What about Star
Dog Day
Wars?
Afternoon? Coming Home?
Coming Home, like my favorite ending in the 1970s.
I mean, I know what you should do.
What about The Gay Divorcee?
No. You know what I should do?
Yeah.
What should I do?
Well, why don't you make a decision and then I'll tell you whether it was the right one.
Fellowship of the Ring.
I don't think that's eligible.
Is it not?
Well, it's 2000s, isn't it?
Oh.
Fellowship of the Ring, it was 2001, so we're not drafting from that time. Do you think you and I should do a Lord of the Rings pod?
A lot of people are asking for it.
But I mean, like every film. Like it's just me and just me. No, nothing personal. Just me and you.
It's really fine
because of what those films have meant to our friendship. But
what if we just
you
did a
can't
Hobbit
do it
pod?
this year?
What if
Listen, I'm sorry. I'm stepping in to just marshal
because
your time.
I have a lot of pods planned.
Yeah, because you were like panic texting yesterday about the number of podcasts, and also you keep being like, I need a sabbatical. I need a sabbatical.
His sabbatical will be recapping the Hobbit movies with me.
Okay.
That would be a joy.
Once again, I'm available to light and direct.
I just want to spend somewhere between 1 and 14 hours talking about the desolation of Smaug with Chris.
Yeah.
Is that Smaug? Is that how we're pronouncing it?
I think so.
He has a little vulnerability right here on his belly.
Benedict Cumberbatch's best performance.
And who's that guy? The guy's the river dweller. Who's that dude?
Not sure. I saw Becoming Led Zeppelin yesterday, as you guys know, and there's like a pretty extended period where Robert Plant talks about writing the lyrics to Ramble On. And during the film, it cuts to archival footage of a man opening the Lord of the Rings and showing us a pencil drawing of Mordor, which of course is cited in the song. Yeah. Anyway, I think I will choose Barry Lyndon. Okay, that's what I wanted. Barry Lyndon, directed by Stanley Kubrick. It's one of the most beautiful and striking movies ever made. Amanda's never seen it, so she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Barry Lyndon, I like painterly things. They used real candlelight. Awesome. Okay. What about the fucking Wizard of Oz? Put your money where your mouth is.
Do you think that Inception's better than Barry Lyndon?
No.
I thought about the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
You can come see it's on my list.
Yeah.
I love the Wizard of Oz, one of my favorite movies of all time. But I didn't want to give Wicked any more shine, so I opted against it. I feel like we need to quiet the Wicked people right now.
Okay.
Tell them to settle down. So that's it. Draft's done.
We agree.
We learned a lot about deodorant in this discussion. We learned a lot about skincare. And,
ancient Greece.
Chris's virginity.
No, we didn't really learn anything about that.
We did. We learned a lot about it.
I just said that
you said you still have your virginity? What did you say?
I said it had a signature. I guess I have a signature scent.
Okay. It's just Old Spice.
It's variations on Old Spice's powerful antiperspirant deodorant.
Okay.
Yeah. Your Allspice brand is testicular musk. Is that what you said?
Honestly, that's fucking beneath you.
What's beneath me? What do you mean?
No, mine is
you said
it's a timber or Fiji or volcano. Or there was some Northwest Passage.
What are the scent notes in volcano?
Smoke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Yeah. It's made of real lava.
Does Old Spice do a natural deodorant yet?
I don't know. I'm way past that point.
Oh, okay.
Guys, let's recap. I had the first pick, so I'll recap first. In 1930s, I chose Mutiny on the Bounty. In 1950s, On the Waterfront. In 1970s, The Godfather. In 1990s, The Silence of the Lambs. In 2010s, Parasite. And in Best Picture Loser, I chose Barry Lyndon.
I just remember his little vulnerability on his
Smaug.
In 1930s, I took All Quiet on the Western Front. In 1950s, I took Bridge on the River Kwai. In 1970s, I took The Sting. In 1990s, I took Unforgiven. In the 2010s, I took Argo and got shit for it. And for Loser, I took Goodfellas. I initially was like, I fucked this draft up. Maybe I should get myself a little bit more serious about these things. And now I think I did a good job.
Okay.
Yeah, came all the way back around.
Okay.
I see.
And I also think I introduced a lot of ideas to the show.
Cool. Very proud of you.
I have to do this without laughing, and I really have the giggles. Okay. In 1930s, I took It Happened One Night. In 1950s, I took All About Eve. In the 1970s, The Godfather Part 2. In 1990s, Titanic. In the 2010s, Moonlight. And Best Picture Loser, The Social Network.
I think you probably won.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who can say?
You know, we let you have your board.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's nothing. Not
Listen,
personal.
You know what?
Personal.
You don't.
It's out of love.
You
it's
don't
out of love.
need.
You don't know what you need. You don't know what you need, which is to sometimes be calm on a 2 recording day. Thank you so much to Jack Sanders for his work on this episode, and to Bobby Wagner, our producer. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. You are the best.
I try to just contribute where I can across the board.
Next week on the show, we're running back the alternative Oscars. Wesley Morris will return. We'll see you then.